Hello, this is Alicia, and in this video I want to show you how to make this really cute heart garland. And I made this using wool roving, so let me show you what you will need to make this. First you'll need a cookie cutter. This size is about 1.5 inches. You will need some felting needles. I typically use the 36 gauge or the 38 gauge. You will need some type of foam mat used for needle felting. You will need some wool roving. The kind that I am using is this really fun Valentine pack from Revolution Fibers. Has a lot of fun pinks and purples and reds. I also grabbed this rainbow pack that I use some of the pinks in here as well. You really won't need very much wool roving for this, but unfortunately that's just the size that it comes in, so you'll have a lot extra to do other fun projects. For the garland, I used this hemp string. I believe that this is 1.5 millimeters or whatever, just choose whatever is close enough. You can also use embroidery thread. Any thin thread will work just fine. You will need 3 or 4 millimeter macrame string. This is the single twist string. This combs out really well and makes a great tassel. You will need a very sharp scissors, a comb. You'll need some type of needle for threading the string through each of your hearts. And then you'll also need a yarn or tapestry needle, which we'll use when we make the tassel. Okay, let's get started. I mat down. And wool does not like to be pulled hard, so just gently pull some off. And I like to separate the fibers a little bit. Make it into a fluffy cloud. We'll stick that right in there. Now I do let my kids use felting needles because I showed them how to use them properly, but they are super sharp, so make sure that you are watching your kids and instructing them on how to properly use them. Okay, so first what we'll do is we'll just start hammering this in. I like to go around the edges the most because I think it gives a really nice defined border. So once you kind of get it all in there and mat it down a little bit, then really just focus on the edges and then bring your needle on the inside every once in a while. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to peel this off. And I'm going to turn it around and do this side. And I'm probably going to flip it several times. Just make sure to turn it often before it gets too embedded into the mat that you're using. All right, I'm going to turn this again. So let me show you what it looks like so far. It's very fluffy and soft and loose right now. So I'm going to work at this for a few more minutes, continuing to needle it and rotate it. And when I get it to a point of where I like it, then I'll start the camera back up and show you what that looks like. All right. You can see that mine is a lot thinner from the last time. And it's a little bit more firm. It's still somewhat squishy, but it's much more firm, and that feels pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and make several more of these, and when I'm done with that, I will show you how to string these together and then how to add the tassel at the bottom. Okay, I have finished up all of my hearts. I've put them in an order that I want them to go on the string. And the string that I'm using is this hemp cord. I think it's probably 1.5 millimeters or somewhere near that. But you could also use embroidery floss. I have a wooden bead, and then I have 3 millimeters single twist macrame string. So if you've been making any of my baskets, you likely have some of this already. Just grab whatever you have and that will work. We'll use that for the tassel. So when you string your hearts on, you're going to want to start from the bottom and work your way upwards. You also need a needle. I think I forgot to mention that. But go ahead and thread the needle, and then to string the hearts on, I poke it from the bottom. I come up right there. And just like that. So let me pause the video until I get all of this part done, and then we'll move on to the next step. My hearts are all strung up. I tied a knot with a loop on the top to be able to hang it. Now let's go ahead and make the tassel. So to make a tassel, you'll just hold this in your hand and wrap around your hand as many times as you want, depending on how big you want your tassel to be. That looks pretty good. I'm going to cut that off. Then we're going to take the bottom part of our string and we're just going to, whoops, I forgot we need to put in the bead first. Okay, so put that in first, then take your string and just loop it right through there. I'm just going to let that dangle for a minute. Then I'm going to cut off another piece of string about 12 to 15 inches. I'm going to thread one side with a yarn needle. I'm going to take the other side, and we're going to do this part where we tie it around. And to start it, I'm going to hold it just like that. I'm going to start going around. And the idea is to wrap around this piece. And I'm going to pull pretty tight. Then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put it down and underneath. Pull that through. So what I have are two ends. I'm going to pull those tight, and that will hold our tassel together. I'm going to cut off the top one. The bottom one I can just leave because it will go in with the rest of the tassel. Then I'm going to cut the bottom of all of the loops. Okay. Now let's take a comb and let's brush this out. Okay, now I'm going to take some really sharp scissors and I'm going to cut this at the bottom so that it's even. Okay. Okay, that looks good. So then let's tie this together. Okay, that looks like about the right spot. Tie this right at the top. And then when I cut off the extra string and put the bead down, that will hide that knot. Perfect. Okay. Then I'm just going to space my hearts back out. And we're all set.